Could the Chicago Bears look to trade up from the number 10 pick in the NFL draft? Couple of nuggets from ESPN, plus another draft rumor I want to dive into. This is Harrison Graham, Chicago Bears Now by Chat Sports. Give me a follow on social media. I'll be posting over there a lot leading up and during the NFL draft at HGramNFL on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at HGramNFL on Instagram. You can find me on both of those platforms, publishing about the Bears on a daily basis. Let's go ahead and dive into some Bears draft talk. All right, ESPN's Matt Miller, Jordan Reid, Field Yates kind of did a let's empty the notebook type of draft article today on ESPN, and both Field Yates and Jordan Reid named the Bears as potential trade-up team. Jordan Reid also kind of mentioned it on the other side that teams could look to trade up with the Bears at number 10, so keep that in mind as well. Obviously, we're less than a week from the NFL draft, and the Bears picking at number 10 kind of feels like they're right on the border of, will they get a blue chipper there? Could they have to move up for one, or do you trade down to try and get an extra pick if the player you want is not available? Okay, Field Yates had this to say, quote, "If we get one, I think it would manifest from a team trying to get Warren or Boise State's running back Ashton Jeanty. The Bears lurk is an obvious potential home for either prospect." Jordan Reid, like I mentioned, said keep an eye on the Bears at number 10 overall, and this was answering a question posed in the article about teams that could trade up. Reid also referenced the Bears as a team sitting at 10 that a team could trade up for, so going in the other direction as well. But in the topic of potentially trading up, certainly interesting. I could see it going either way because, like I said a second ago, it feels like the Bears are right on the border of being able to get one of those premium players. We've gone through the worst case scenario. We've gone through the best case. You look at that worst case scenario once again, if only one quarterback goes in the top 9, you're probably not getting one of the premium players of Jeanty or Will Campbell or Tyler Warren to fall to you at number 10. But if a second quarterback goes, or if a Jalen Walker goes in there as well, then it does increase your chances of getting one of those guys at 10. If it were to play out like that, I would want to trade down. I would try to trade down even if I'm getting 80 cents on the dollar. Like if in a normal draft, I would get a second-round pick to move down 5 slots or 6 slots. Would I take a third this year? I probably would, because I can get a similar caliber player at 16 than I can at 10 in that type of situation. As far as going the other way, if the Bears do trade up, I think these are 4 guys that they would consider doing it for. I think Mason Graham, we've talked about it. If he gets past 5, like if the Raiders are on the clock at 6 and they're a team that, you know, they could take Graham certainly, but maybe they would not take a defensive tackle because they have some bodies there. Would you flip with Vegas for him? Same with Ashton Jeanty. Maybe the Raiders really like him, but they'd be willing to trade, or maybe you trade up to 5 to leapfrog Vegas and secure your franchise running back. Will Campbell, if he doesn't go to New England at 4, you know, and he slides a little bit, do you leapfrog like New Orleans, who's been linked to him at 9? Do you trade it with Carolina at 8? Tyler Warren, if you really just think he's a difference-making chess piece offensively, which I think he could be, do you move up a couple of spots to try and get him? I could see the Bears moving up in that 5 to 8 range. I don't see them getting into the top 3 or 4, certainly not top 3, especially if it does go Ward, Hunter, Carter. I just don't think those teams picking there are going to trade off of that pick unless you just overwhelm them, which I would not want to do. I've already been on record saying I don't want to trade a future first, but I would be willing to give up 72 or one of those second-round picks potentially for the right player, for the right package, especially, you know, if you gave up 39 or 41 and got back a third or a fourth to move up to, you know, 6 or something like that. So definitely could see that being the case. And look, if you're the Bears, it's very simple. Do you want, A, how big is the gap between the blue chippers and that next group of players? And B, how do you feel about your roster as a whole? Are you willing to sacrifice a pick to go get a player that you think can have a bigger impact on your team this year and moving forward? Or would you almost rather just stick a pick, or even go the other way where, like I said, pick up an extra third-round pick or something like that and, you know, go with a more volume approach? I could see both avenues because I think the Bears feel like their roster's in good shape. Maybe it's not in great shape, but if they get that, that true top flight guy that they think could be an all pro, then maybe it's worth it if the price is right. Is there a player in this draft that you would trade up for? Does that player exist? Like, sure, you could say like Abdul Carter, but to get him, you're probably going to have to give him a future first. So, like, would you trade up for Genty? Would you trade up for Will Campbell or Mason Graham? Type Y for yes, you would. Type in for no, you would not. There's no player I would trade up for if it meant giving up a future first. But if it was only one additional day 2 pick, I do think I could swallow that pill for the right player. Okay, speaking of the draft and the number 10 pick, are the Bears going to go with the skill player in round 1 for the second straight year after taking, obviously, Caleb number 1, but Rome Odunze number 9? Stacey Dales gave her take on that on NFL Network, so we'll dive into that and what Stacey said here in just a moment. But do want to get a word in from our sponsor, Rocket Money, a personal finance app that can help you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and help lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Speaking of potentially lowering those bills, you can upload photos of your phone bill, your homeowner's insurance bill, whatever bill, and to the Rocket Money app. And they can sometimes find deals that will lower your bill by up to 20%. Not a guarantee, but they will kind of do the legwork for you and see if they can find you a better option. Turn a $100 bill into an $85 bill, for example. They've done it with several customers before, and they are trying to help you put more money into your pockets. Rocket Money is an app that I use on a daily basis. Stay on top of just my normal day-to-day banking activities, but it keeps me on track with upcoming bills that are going to be charged out of my, auto payment setups and whatever the case may be. I can stay on top of my credit score. I can also cancel subscriptions I no longer want with just tapping a few buttons because it'll lay out for you just how much you're spending per month on all these subscriptions, streaming services, whatever the case may be. Categorize spending. You can kind of realize, maybe I need to scale back here. I've got more wiggle room there if I want to spend more, on vacation or whatever the case may be. Rocket Money, the best personal finance app out there. Can't recommend it enough. They have 5 million users and counting and have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 per year when they use all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. All you got to do is go to rocketmoney.com/BearsNow. It's rocketmoney.com/BearsNow. One more time, rocketmoney.com/BearsNow. Link is in the comments and description. Use that link when you download the app. It really helps support the show. Okay, Stacey Dales today on NFL Network saying, I wouldn't put it past the Bears if they don't get someone like Will Campbell to go skill position once again with Ben Johnson's offense. It will all come down to how the Bears board falls. And that last part kind of goes without saying, right? That's every team. It just depends how the board falls. She mentioned Genty and Warren specifically. Again, no surprise there that those would be 2 players that Ben Johnson would be interested in. We've talked about them ad nauseum for what feels like years, but, a couple months at least. And something I've said before, and this really happened with how they attack the offensive line, and even with the additions of Grady Jarrett and Dio Odengbo, the Bears have flexibility. And that's where you want to be, to just draft the best player available. If the best player on your board is a running back, cool. If the best player on your board is a defensive tackle, cool. If the best player available is a wide receiver, that feels a little bit of a reach, but if you feel that highly about him, hey, if Tet McMillan's the 6th best player on their board and they take him at 10, who might argue? I love Tet McMillan. So the point is you can go really in any direction you want based on what you did earlier in the offseason, and that's a good spot to be. This is my top 10 Bears now, big board now. Did a full video on this, and I've tinkered a couple slots, and we'll continue to tinker between now and draft night, but of note, no quarterbacks included. And it is angled a little bit to what the Bears need in terms of positional value. So take that with a grain of salt. But, I think the top 6, obviously you're not going to get Carter or Hunter, but I didn't include them. To me, one of those top 6 guys, if you could get one of those players, that would be huge. Going back to the trade-up idea, I would be open to it for the right cost. Armin Mimbu's kind of close between the top 6 for me in that next tier. you hear more and more that teams are hesitant to play him at left tackle. So for the Bears, it's a little tougher because the rest of their line's in a good spot. I really like Mike Green, obviously the character stuff. That's why I have him in a tier below. But as a player, he's excellent. But if you can't check those off the field boxes and feel comfortable, obviously you wouldn't take him in the first round. I really like Mykel Williams, great run stopper, only 20 years old. And then, I've got a Marion Hampton there. I probably got him a little higher with the Bears lens on than I would like on an overall big board. But there is a dip after 6. Like to me, if you got down to 8, 9, 10 there, I would probably rather trade down from 10 and get something back. An extra pick. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out. How many quarterbacks go ahead of the Bears? If 2 go, if 3 go, you're certainly in a good spot. 2, you're probably right on the border of getting one of those premium guys because you never know, like, where does Jalen Walker go? So it's going to be very interesting to see how the Bears attack this. And I agree with Stacey. They could certainly take a skill player for a second straight year. And for Genty or Warren, I'd be completely happy with it. Gary Ross, who's had some scoops before, kudos to him, said, per source, the Bears had a private workout with Kelvin Banks, who is just outside my top 10 for the Bears now. Big board right now. I've have him somewhere between 11 and 15. Not sure exactly where. Don't have it in front of me. But I definitely think he'd be in the mix with that 10th selection if all the premium guys are gone that we've talked about ad nauseum. Like, I could see them going Banks over Mykel Williams or over Mike Green, especially with the character stuff and all that stuff. So remember, they had an intense workout with Darnell Wright a few years ago. That went well, and they drafted him. So Banks is probably a guy on their radar that if Plan A isn't available, he could be in that grouping of Plan B. And if they can't find a trade down, maybe they would consider taking him. Or in a trade down scenario, they would consider taking him. That would be ideal for me when it comes to Banks at 10. I don't hate it, but it does feel a little early. But in a trade down where you pick up extra capital, I actually think it's pretty good value. Who will the Bears pick in round 1? What is your gut feeling as we sit 6 days away from the NFL draft? Let us know in the comment section down below. We will continue to update you guys with every draft news item, rumor, nugget that's out there, cramming it all in before the NFL draft gets going on Thursday night. So make sure you're subscribed to the channel. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you soon.